parent frustrated that your child is still living at home, your adult child? Well, today, more than ever, kids are failing to launch into adulthood and become truly independent and self-sufficient in their lives.
That's right. Psychologist Dr. Kim Taylor is joining us this morning to tackle the failure to launch syndrome. She's going to break this down for us and tell us what it's all about. Great to see you this morning.
Hi.
It's an important topic, and I think a lot of families have kids that are older living with them still for multiple reasons. So can you just describe for folks, what do you mean by failure to launch, and how is this affecting families?
Okay, what it is it's a term used to really describe some of the problems that young kids are having, or our youth are having, to try to launch themselves into the next phase of their life, where it entails being more responsible and to take care of themselves, really away from the family home. And so you may recall that a movie called Failure to Launch with the young man who was actually in his 30s, but his parents were trying desperately to get him out of the house. But he was perfectly happy being there, and his mom was taking care of him and doing the laundry while he could still go out and play. So parents these days are very confused by this trend of those who are born between the years 1984 and the year 2000 who are just not really wanting to leave the family home to start their life on their own.
Are there some life lessons that some of these kids might not have learned as they grew up? Like, what leads to this?
Well, it is very complex, and it isn't that it just starts at the age of 18 or 19, that there are a lot of factors that go into this, and part of this is about what is your parenting style. It may be that parents are too permissive, or that they are too overprotective of their child, so that they keep them from really finding ways to kind of work through things for themselves. And parents these days seem to be afraid to let their kids be uncomfortable or to suffer in some kind of way, but this actually contributes to them feeling doubtful about themselves. So the fact that adults are sometimes really quick to jump in does not allow your children to really build that resilience and that ability to tolerate frustration, so that when a problem comes up, the first thing that they want to do is go to their parents to have them fix it.
Right.
So there's a huge difference between caring for our kids and caretaking. And the caretaking means that you are doing things that your child should and could and can do for themselves. And when you do that, you just feed into their feelings of fear and their own weakness.
It's like a sense of dependency right
Absolutely.
there. How about some other contributing factors?
Well, some of those might be substance abuse that the kids get involved in, and or there might be some kind of underlying issue like depression, anxiety. There might be a learning problem. And then, of course, we live in the culture where everything is instant and we want what we want now, and we don't want to work for it. So that kind of feeds into this whole process also.
Well, what can parents do to work with their children possibly to get to that point of independence?
Well, the first thing, start young. And we actually talked about chores on the show here.
We did.
Where chores are very important because you want them to be contributing members of the household, because with this you kind of challenge them to learn, you challenge them to find their own passion in life, but you are also wanting to cultivate that kind of resilience that it takes to meet goals. And we need to be able to be challenged and to tolerate all of the frustration that comes with doing that. So the other thing that parents need to do is really hold their kids accountable and responsible, and that they have to suffer the natural consequences if they're not doing what it is that you need them to do, whether it's their homework or chores or things like that at home. And then one of the other important things is to help your kids find happipiness and joy in the process of doing something, not just in the getting of the goal. And so those are the things that you can do as your kids as they grow up and go through all the different phases. But if your child is having trouble and they're in their 20s and 30s and they are staying home and they're not having any motivation to leave, then I think that you need to get professional help and perhaps have a life coach or a psychologist that can come in that can really help to see if there are some underlying issues, but also help to set a plan and goals that this person can start to
and cutting that umbilical cord, kind of, leaving the nest kind of thing.
That's right, launching them.
I know that Tony was mentioning, but some people are staying for other reasons, correct? Maybe they're helping a parent out.
That's
maybe
right.
they're
Money issues.
That's right. And so those are not the ones that we talk about when we talk about failure to launch, but those that are really have a lack of a motivation to do things on their own, to grow, to evolve, to get a job. It's entirely different if you are all deciding deciding to choose to stay home, but you're all contributing to the household in the ways that you can, depending on what your age is.
So it's interesting because part of it can be the child who has an issue leaving the nest, but part of it can be the parents kind of creating the self-dependency with the child, right?
Absolutely.
So they both need to say, enabling it.
Yes, and we find this a lot when it is a single parent. You know, that's a big one. So that parents really need to be aware that you can't parent through guilt. You really have to be able to tolerate your own anxiety to see that your child needs to be able to do this too in order to move on.
Like Frozen says, let it go.
Yes,
Thank you, Dr. Kim.
Dr. Kim, thank you so much. Dr. Kim can be heard on KZSB AM 1290 at her primetime hour, Thursdays 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. Tune in and give her a call. Always great to see you. Thank you so much. And thank you for waking up with Fox 11 News.
We'll see you tomorrow, 7 a.m. right here. We'll see you there.